You're crouched in the mouth of a cave in what's now South Africa. It's roughly 1 million years ago. The air smells like smoke and wet stone, and in front of you, a small pile of ash glows orange in the dark. You didn't make this fire from scratch. Not yet. Humanity's not there, but you know how to keep it alive. You feed it grass, bone, whatever burns, because if it dies tonight, you're eating raw wildebeest again. And trust me, raw wildebeest is not a good time. Now snap forward about 1 million years. You're standing in your kitchen at 11 p.m., staring into a microwave, watching a burrito rotate in a small glowing box, mildly annoyed that it's taking 90 seconds instead of 60. That's it. That's the whole scene. No predators, no embers to protect, just you, mildly inconvenienced by the miracle of stored fire on demand. Kind of insane when you put those two images next to each other, right? One human is protecting a flame like it's a newborn. The other is complaining that his food is taking too long. Same species, same basic need, wildly different stakes. So here's what this video is actually about. When did humans first start cooking food? And why does that question turn out to be way messier and way more important than when did someone first put meat over a fire? Because the real answer involves ash layers in caves, chimpanzees with a weirdly specific food preference, a scientific fight over burnt bones in China, and a theory that cooking might be the actual reason you have the brain you're reading this with right now. Yeah, cooking might have built your brain. We'll get there. Here's the thing nobody tells you up front. The first cooked meal wasn't a moment. It wasn't a guy with a spark and a steak going, aha. It wasn't a single campfire lighting up on a single Tuesday. Not a lightning strike. Not a lucky accident with a stick. A slow, contested, evidence-starved process that scientists are still arguing about today. Some researchers think cooking is over 1 million years old. Others think reliable, everyday cooking is way younger, more like 400,000 years. The honest answer is we don't have a clean date, and that gap between earliest possible and earliest confirmed is basically its own scientific war zone. But before we get to who's winning that war, we need to understand what actually counts as cooking in the first place, because it's a stricter bar than you'd think. Let's lay the groundwork. Fire existing in nature is not the same as fire being controlled. Wildfires have existed for hundreds of millions of years. Lightning strikes, dry grass, boom. Early hominins absolutely encountered fire long before they controlled it. They probably scavenged burnt landscapes for cooked-up, easy-to-eat animals that didn't make it out. That's opportunistic. That's not cooking. Cooking requires 3 separate skills stacked on top of each other. Keeping a fire alive over time, being able to start a fire on demand, and intentionally applying that fire to food, consistently, as a habit. Miss any one of those 3 and you don't have cooking. You have a lucky Tuesday. So when archaeologists go looking for the first cooks, they're not looking for ash. Ash is everywhere. Nature makes plenty of it. They're looking for patterns that only humans make. Let's start with the oldest serious contender, Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa. In 2012, a team led by archaeologist Francesco Berna published findings on burned bone fragments and plant ash found deep inside the cave, roughly 1 million years old. And here's the key detail. This wasn't surface ash that could have blown in from outside. It was found deep in the cave, meters from the entrance, layered with stone tools used by early Homo erectus. Wildfires don't wander 100 feet into a dark cave and neatly deposit themselves next to someone's toolkit. Someone, brought the fire inside. Let that sit for a moment. That's 1 million years ago, controlled fire inside a shelter next to tools. That's about as close to a smoking gun as archaeology gets. Pun fully intended. Now, here's where it gets interesting, because you'd think found the smoking gun means case closed. It doesn't, because one cave, one site, doesn't prove humans everywhere were doing this. It proves somebody, somewhere, could. Next thread. Gesher Benot Ya'aqov, a site in northern Israel, dated to around 790,000 years ago. Researcher Nama Goran Inbar and her team found clustered burnt flint and wood remains, and critically, clustered in the same spots, over and over, across different layers of sediment, representing different points in time. That repetition matters enormously. A one-off fire is an event. A fire that shows up in the same location again and again and again across generations is a habit. That's the difference between somebody once got lucky with a flame and we as a group know how to keep this going. Not a spark, not a fluke, a tradition. Okay, so we've established that controlled fire goes back roughly 800,000 to 1 million years in patches. So what about cooking specifically, actually applying that fire to food on the regular? This is where the Zhoukoudian site in China gets messy, and messy in a way that's honestly a great lesson in how science self-corrects. For decades, Zhoukoudian was the textbook example. Homo erectus fossils alongside what looked like ash layers and burnt bone, dated in some interpretations to over 400,000 years ago. Great story. Clean narrative. Then, in 1998, researcher Steve Weiner and colleagues re-examined the site using microscopic and chemical analysis, and found that a lot of that ash didn't actually chemically match burned material the way true ash should. Some of what looked like fire evidence may have been decayed organic sediment, or even just discoloration from water and time. Translation: some of the proof wasn't proof at all. Let that sit, because it's a good reminder that ancient people definitely did this, and ancient people probably did this, are two very different sentences. And good scientists are willing to walk back the first one when the evidence gets shakier under a microscope. So where does that leave us? A newer, sturdier answer. Qesem Cave in Israel, occupied starting around 400,000 years ago. This site has a repeated hearth, a built, maintained fire pit, used again and again in the exact same spot, surrounded by burnt animal bones with cut marks, meaning the meat was butchered and burned, not just accidentally singed. This is the strongest, least disputed evidence of habitual cooking we have. Not fire happened nearby. Cooking as a daily, structured behavior. Now, let me throw something at you that might sound wild. Some researchers think cooking isn't just something humans started doing at some point. Some think cooking is the reason humans became human. This is primatologist Richard Wrangham's cooking hypothesis, laid out in his book Catching Fire. His argument: cooked food is dramatically easier to digest than raw food. Cooking breaks down tough fibers and proteins before your gut has to. That means your body spends way less energy digesting, and has way more energy left over for other things, like, say, growing an enormous, expensive, calorie-hungry brain. Wrangham points out that human guts are notably smaller relative to body size than other great apes' guts, while our brains are notably bigger. His theory: cooking is the trade. Smaller gut, bigger brain, because cooked food did some of the digesting for us before it even hit our stomachs. Think about that for a second. The thing simmering on your stove tonight might be, distantly, part of the reason you're capable of having thoughts complex enough to be annoyed about the microwave. Now here's the heavier turn, because this whole story has real teeth to it. If Wrangham's right, and it's still debated, to be clear, then cooking wasn't a lifestyle upgrade. It was survival infrastructure. Groups without reliable fire were burning enormous amounts of energy just to digest raw meat and tough plants. Energy that could have gone to reproduction, to child rearing, to simply not starving during a hard season. And keeping fire alive in the deep past was brutal, high-stakes work. No lighters, no matches, nothing to fall back on if it went out during a storm or a long migration. Losing your fire wasn't an inconvenience. In some environments, it might have been a death sentence for the group. That's the trade-off sitting underneath every cozy campfire scene we like to imagine. The same flame that built bigger brains and easier meals could also be the difference between a band of early humans making it through winter or not making it at all. So when did ancient humans first cook food? The honest answer is layered, and I actually love that it's layered, because it means we're watching real science happen in real time instead of reciting a settled fact. Controlled fire, brought into shelters and reused, likely stretches back around 800,000 to a million years, based on sites like Wonderwerk and Gesher Benot Ya'aqov. But confirmed, habitual, everyday cooking. Fires built in the same spot again and again, meat butchered and burned as routine. Really solidifies around 400,000 years ago, at places like Qesem Cave. Everything earlier than that is real evidence. But it's patchy, contested, occasionally walked back under a microscope, like Zhoukoudian. And the deeper theory, that cooking didn't just feed us but built the brain doing the feeding, is compelling, genuinely taken seriously by serious researchers, and still not proven beyond doubt. We don't fully know. And honestly, that's not a weakness in the story. That's what makes it a story still being written. So, think about that next time you're annoyed your food's taking too long. Somewhere back across nearly a million years of ancestors, someone was crouched in the dark, feeding scraps into a flame they could not afford to lose. So that one day, impossibly far down the line, you could stand in a kitchen, bored, waiting for a burrito. You are not separate from that person. You're the payoff. You're the version of this species that gets to be mildly inconvenienced instead of desperate. That's not nothing. That's basically a miracle wearing sweatpants. What do you think? Was it the brain that came first, or the fire?